Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining me today for Aromatherapy for Parrots. And this is just a basic introduction of why we use essential oils and what essential oils are and how we can use them in our companion parrots. So thank you for joining me today, and hopefully by the end of the presentation you will be able to understand a little bit more about why it is we do what we do. So first of all, I'll tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Angela Nelson, and I studied at St. Cloud State University. I studied biomedical science and biology, and I also studied mathematics. I've had some fantastic opportunities to work with a lot of different species of birds. So you can see here pictured I got to work with greater Vasa, blue throat, macaw, black palm, of course, hyacinth, and greater sulfur crest macaw. I've had lots of fantastic opportunities to work with a lot of different species that you don't necessarily get to see every day. So that's always been very fun for me. This is my flock. I have a very diverse flock, everything from large and naked macaws all the way down to my zebra finches. So first one here, this is Ellie, pride and love of my life. Then we have Kiwi, Nola, Babe, Jethro, the little devil himself, and he is wrapped around mommy's finger and he knows it. Dakota, and this is Sapphire. These are the Meepers. Zebbers, Samson, this is Max, and that is my little Susie. I also published my first book, also called Aromatherapy for Parrots. It was published back in May of 2013. It is available in paperback and also in digital format. Both of them are available at Amazon.com. You can just search for Aromatherapy for Parrots and it should pop right up. So I do have a disclaimer. I am not a veterinarian, so the information that is contained in this presentation is for educational purposes only and is not intended to diagnose, prescribe, prevent, or treat any disease or illness. If you have a concern for yourself or your animals, please do consult a medical professional of your choosing. So who's ready to learn more about essential oils? This is my Nola. She loves her Valor roll-on, so always ready to work with more oils. So first, let's talk about what exactly an essential oil is. So Wikipedia says the definition of an essential oil is the subtle, aromatic, and volatile liquid within the flowers, seeds, leaves, stem, bark, and roots of any herb, bushes, shrubs, and trees. So volatile simply means that it quickly vaporizes, especially when if it's left uncovered at room temperature or even warmer. It is the oldest form of medicine and cosmetic known to man. It has been considered more valuable than gold. Pharaohs and kings were buried with essential oils in their tombs, and actually they found now some of these tombs that they have opened up now. The grave robbers that have gone into these tombs, they found that a lot of the treasure that the pharaohs and the kings were buried with, the gold and the jewels and stuff, was still left in the tombs, but the essential oils were stolen. They were still had the vats and whatnot that were holding the essential oils. Some of them were still there, but most of them were stolen. So that was a very interesting discovery. Also, according to ancient Egyptian hieroglyphics and Chinese manuscripts, priests and physicians were using essential oils thousands of years before Christ. They used them to heal the sick, and has been called the lifeblood of the plant. So basically, what we're saying is pretty much any living part of the plant, all the way from the leaves and the flowers and the twigs at the very top of the tree, all the way down to the roots underground, can be used to, or has essential oil in it, and can be harvested and distilled to make essential oils. So here, please humor me for just a second as I am very left-brained. I tend to say I have two left brains. So the science is going to take over here for just a second. So anyway, we'll talk a little bit about frequency, because the effectiveness of essential oils cannot really be fully understood without some discussion of frequency. So just humor me here for a second, okay? Frequency is the measurable rate of electrical energy flow that is constant between any 2 points. And if you remember back in high school, or at any point in time when we've talked about frequency is measured in waves. So if you picture the waves coming through, as it's coming through like this, and the point is measured from the top of one wave to the top of the other, and the distance between those two is considered a hertz. So a healthy human body frequency is typically around 62 to 72 hertz. When the frequency drops, so when the frequency of the human body drops, that usually means the immune system is compromised. So at around 58 hertz, that's when you see diseases like influenza start to set in. At around 55 hertz, you'll see conditions like candida. At 52 hertz, things like Epstein-Barr. And 42 hertz, that's when cancer sets in. At 0 hertz, you're dead. Only non-living things have no frequency. Okay, does that make sense? So, obviously, the higher we can keep our frequency, the healthier we are going to be. Okay? So how do we raise and lower our frequency? Every living thing has a frequency and thus has an effect on our frequency. Everything we eat, breathe, and absorb. So many pollutants lower healthy frequency. Those of us that live in larger cities, obviously we're dealing with more air pollution than somebody that lives, in the mountains or, way out in the country. Processed and canned foods has been measured has a frequency of 0. Okay. Fresh produce has up to 15 hertz. Dry herbs, anywhere from 12 to 22 hertz. Fresh herbs from 20 to 27 hertz. Now here's amazing. Essential oils start at 52 hertz and go as high as 580 hertz. And that's new, okay? Just a couple of years ago, it was 320 hertz. They just recently discovered, not that this is a new thing, it's Idaho blue spruce. We've seen the Idaho blue spruce trees forever, especially if you live in Idaho. But they just distilled it, and they measured the frequency, and it went up to 580 hertz. Okay, that's amazing, because clinical research shows that essential oils have the highest frequency of any natural substance known to man. And that creates an environment which disease, bacteria, virus, fungi, and anything else like that cannot live. It literally cannot live in that kind of an environment. That is amazing. Okay, I mean, does that blow you away? That still amazes me to this day, all the time. So when we think about what we're putting into our bodies, think about our processed and our canned foods. What is that? Okay, for us as humans, that's our frozen pizzas. That's our hamburger helper. What is that for our birds? Okay, that's a lot of our highly processed pellets. It's not doing a whole lot of good, folks. Okay, look at some of your fresh produce. That's going to start doing a lot better. So I chose these pictures here. This is actually photos of milkweed, but this actually happens with all plants. I just chose milkweed because the substance inside milkweed is a milky white substance, and it makes it a little bit easier to see on pictures. As you can see here, when you break off a plant, and I'm sure you've all seen it, you'll see this beading here. See it along this leaf? It comes and beads up here. It beads up on the stem. That is, it's a lot of different things, but a major part of that is the essential oils in the plant. Remember when we said before it was the lifeblood of the plant, much like our blood. Okay, when we get a cut or a wound, we have blood that rushes to the area. Okay, so again, much like our blood, it's going to carry nutrients, hormones, enzymes, vitamins, minerals, and antibodies. So all of these things here, it has antifungal, antibacterial, antiviral, anti-infectious, antiseptic, healing, and immune stimulating properties. Okay, so basically what it's doing is it's rushing to this wound and carrying all of these different properties here. It's carrying all of these to help protect and start the healing process of that wounded area of the plant. Okay, another huge thing here is that essential oils also carry oxygen. Okay, they are a major carrier of oxygen throughout the body or throughout the plant, as well as, if we start using essential oils, it carries it throughout our body as well. Okay, and it's able to get deep within inside every cell. It passes through the cell membrane and is able to carry oxygen right into individual cells. So essential oils are highly aromatic, and many benefits can be obtained by simply inhaling or diffusing them. So you see this picture here I have of a bunch of roses. Okay, obviously, you can look at that picture and see that that's, you can almost smell it just by looking at it. It's incredibly fragrant. Essential oils can be the best filtration system in the world. It can help remove toxins and metallic particles from the air. It can increase atmospheric oxygen. It increases natural ozone and negative ions, which inhibit bacterial growth. Now, do not let that scare you, because I know we've been told time and time again, especially when looking for something such as an air purifier, something like that, to make sure we don't have one that emits ozone or negative ions. But here's something that's let me explain to you the process of this a little bit. First of all, if you've ever been next to a waterfall, that is some of the cleanest air in the entire world, because what is happening right there is, as the water comes over the cliff and is landing and is crashing down at the bottom there, a lot of these water molecules are breaking apart. And as they're breaking apart, it's releasing negative ions. It's also can be releasing one oxygen molecule that's connecting up to our O2, which is our normal oxygen, creating O3, which is ozone. That's natural ozone. Very normal, very natural process. It's just basic normal chemistry. I have no idea how it works in the filtration system, but I can guarantee you it's not a normal natural process. At the same time, when we're using our diffusers that have water in it, that's exactly what's happening. It has a little disc that stirs up the water, very quickly breaks apart those molecules, and it's again just that very normal, natural process that happens that helps clean and filtrate the air. So anyway, we can continue on with that. It also helps destroy odors. It can kill mold, even deeply embedded in the walls. As far as that goes, I have had several people that have done this and have had really great success with it. I do recommend that if you are going to be doing a mold treatment in a room, please do take your birds out of the room, because you're going to have to be using a different type of diffuser than what we recommend using around the birds that emit straight essential oils. And you're going to be using a lot of essential oil in a very, very short amount of time. And it can be very strong. It can be really, really intense. And it could get uncomfortable for them. We don't want that. So if you are going to be doing some kind of a mold treatment, it's just recommended to keep, all pets out of the room, and probably small children and yourself. I wouldn't want to be in a room that was kicking out tons of straight essential oils. It would be overwhelming for me. So essential oils can also help repel mice and insects, except for the seed moths. I don't even think a nuclear bomb could get rid of seed moths. Sorry, I've tried everything. So one thing that I love is, when I first got birds, I got rid of all of my candles and my plugins and everything else. And it sure is nice to have yummy smelling things in the house again. So that's a very wonderful plus. So here's something very interesting. When I first started getting into essential oils, I started working with Young Living, and I've done a lot of research on many different companies, and I have chosen to go with Young Living. And it's not a sales pitch. It's because of research. And a lot of people ask me, why do you only use Young Living with Parrots? And I decided to make up a few slides to explain that to all of you. And so this is why. This is why I will only ever use Young Living, and I will only recommend Young Living to anybody that wants to use essential oils around their parrots, or around anybody, or with themselves for that matter. So Young Living was the first to establish guidelines that defined what a therapeutic essential oil is, and they were also the first to create oils that met or exceeded any known medicinal standard. So typically there are four grades of essential oils that are produced today. They are synthetic or nature identical oils, extended or altered oils, natural oils, and certified oils, or therapeutic grade essential oils. And I will go over all four of those as we go through them. Synthetic or nature identical oils. They're very common. Those are the ones you're going to find at Walgreens, at a lot of your ones that I see at Whole Foods a lot. Very common. You're going to see them just about anywhere. Okay, they're going to be in a lot of your shampoos. They're going to be the ones that are going to be in your candles, things like that. They're created cheaply. They're sold cheaply. They are extremely dangerous. They can even be fatal for your birds. Okay, please, please, please do not. This is why we tell you to get rid of your candles, to get rid of your plugins. They are very, very toxic. They're almost all chemicals. There's nothing natural about them. So they're just incredibly dangerous. The next category is extended or adulterated oils. Many of them actually do have a true essential oil base, but then they enhance them with lab-created constituents to increase the volume or the fragrance. And they are also extremely dangerous. One thing, when I first started using real essential oils, one of the first things I noticed was real lavender didn't smell like what I thought lavender should smell like, because we're so used to what the fragrance industry thinks lavender should smell like, and that's not right. So it's very interesting, and that's what they end up enhancing the fragrance. Or a lot of essential oils are very expensive to make. So they may put a little bit of real essential oil in there, and then they extend it with a lot of chemicals. And even if there's a little bit of real true essential oils in there, the United States marketing says, and I don't know about other companies or other countries, excuse me, but I do know that the United States has no regulations when it comes to marking it. As long as there's a little bit in there, it can say on the bottle 100% natural. Okay? That does not mean the entire bottle is 100% natural. It means that something in the bottle is 100% natural. Do you understand the difference in that? Okay? That's a very big deal, because that is a huge, huge difference. And it can be very dangerous. So just because the bottle says 100% natural does not mean everything in the bottle is 100% natural. It means something in the bottle is 100% natural. So then our third category is natural, organic, and certified oils. These are getting a little bit better. So they're going to focus more on growing in a natural, chemical-free environment. Okay, that's good. Now, they're not necessarily concerned with the exactness of time of harvest nor the distillation to maximize the therapeutic potency of each individual oil. Here's what gets a little scary. In 2011, the United States made the decision to allow genetically modified alfalfa to be grown anywhere, even on certified organic land. Okay? So if one GMO plant is approved for certified organic land, what's next? Where's that going to stop? In the United States, Roundup is also been allowed for certified organic fields. Roundup. That's not okay. That is not okay. Now here's what I find. I found this statistic. I heard it and it just blew me away. In 2010, there was 1,000% more lavender essential oils sold as 100% pure and natural than there were lavender plants in the entire world. Read that over again. I will repeat it. In 2010, there was 1,000% more lavender essential oils sold as 100% pure and natural than there were lavender plants in the entire world. Am I starting to scare you a little bit? Good. So Young Living has a process that they call their seed to seal process. And I took this directly from the Essential Oil Desk Reference, special 5th edition. Here is the Young Living seed to seal process. Organic herb farming. Plants should be grown on virgin land, uncontaminated by chemical fertilizers, pesticides, fungicides, herbicides in the known history of the land. Ever. In history. Not in the 5 years or 3 years or 7 years or whatever it takes for an organic field to be considered organic. Plants should be grown away from nuclear plants, factories, interstates, highways, and heavily populated cities when at all possible. Not only that, Young Living leaves about an acre all the way around their fields to try to keep out as much pollutants as possible. They leave it unplanted all the way around their fields. Soil shall be nourished with enzymes, minerals, and organic mulch. The mineral content of the soil is crucial to the proper development of the plant, and soils that lack minerals result in plants that produce inferior oils. Speaking of organic mulch, the fertilizers that they use, if they'll use, for instance, say horse manure, they have found that if they feed horses alfalfa that has been at one point in time had been sprayed with, let's say, a pesticide. If they use the manure from the horses that ate that alfalfa and use that manure to fertilize the ground that they plant the essential oils in, they will find that pesticide in the essential oil. Isn't that interesting? Land and crops should be watered with deep well, reservoir, or watershed water. Mountain stream water is best because of its purity and high mineral content. Municipal water or secondary runoff can introduce undesirable chemicals into the plant and the essential oil. Different varieties of plants produce different quality of oils. Only those plants that produce the highest quality of oil should be selected. Harvesting. Timing of the harvest is one of the most important factors in production of therapeutic grade oils. If the plants are harvested at the wrong time of season or even at the incorrect time of day, they may distill into a substandard oil. In some instances, changing the harvest time by even a few hours can make a huge difference. For example, German chamomile harvested in the morning will produce an oil with far more azulene, a powerful anti-inflammatory compound, than German chamomile harvested in the afternoon. They actually test and study this stuff with every plant. Other factors include the amount of dew on the leaves, the percentage of plant in bloom, and the weather conditions 2 weeks prior to the harvest. Also consider where the distilleries are. Do you risk the herbs drying out or getting contaminated? So here is the actual distillate, one of the distilleries that is actually right on Young Living's farms. They keep several distilleries right on their farms as much as possible. These are the cookers. This, I'm not sure what that is. That could be clary sage or anyway, they harvest it. They put it on these floors that are clean enough to eat off of, literally. And then they use pitchforks and they pitch them into these deep chambers. And they come out these tubes, and this is where the steam carries the essential oils up and out. And this is your essential oil that floats on top, and this is the water. They actually call that hydrosol. That sits there on the bottom, and it filters out like that. So I actually got to visit a couple of distilleries. It was amazing. Then there's the testing. Each and every essential oil must pass extensive testing to ensure an optimal bioactive profile, no matter if it was grown on Young Living's own farms or sourced from one of its vendors. Here's the routine quality test for every single batch of oil. They do third-party testing, gas chromatography and mass spectroscopy, chiral gas chromatography, refractive index, specific gravity, optical rotation, flash point, solid phase microextraction, high performance liquid chromatography. Then, once they get all of that taken care of, and it passes all of those tests, the final thing to do is sealing. The final step in Young Living's seed to seal process is carefully sealing each bottle of essential oil in their own clean room facility and shipping it to members worldwide. And interestingly enough, if it doesn't pass all of that testing, if it comes from a third-party vendor, obviously it's sent back. But if it was grown on the farm, on any of Young Living's farms, they pour it back into the field. They take all that essential oil and they pour it back into the field because there's still an amazing amount of vitamins and nutrients there. And so they use that nutrition for the next round of plants that grow for the next season. I always found that very interesting. So, people ask me all the time, why essential oils for parrots? Well, I have several photos for you, and when you start thinking about it, it actually starts to make a lot of sense. It's very fragrant in the wild. Essential oils are everywhere. Remember where we said you get your essential oils from? Leaves, stems, fruit, flowers. Flowers. There's more fruit in the bark. Here's what's interesting. These babies are being infused with essential oils. Not only are they inside this hollowed out bark, tree bark, they're on top of these wood shavings. I mean, how many of you had smelled pine shavings or cedar shavings? How incredibly fragrant those are. Okay? That's going right through those shells. They're being infused with essential oils before they even hatch. They're being exposed to all those immune stimulating properties. That's amazing. That's amazing. To me, it makes me wonder if that's maybe not part of something that we're missing. in captivity. Our homes are sterile. And sterile is better than toxic. Don't get me wrong. I'm certainly, I'd rather be sterile than toxic, but it's certainly not the fragrant jungle or even the desert. It's pretty amazing. So, how do we use essential oils with parrots? The easiest way, and my personal favorite way to start them out using essential oils, is via diffusion. It's one of the best ways, especially if we're dealing with respiratory infections and things like aspergillosis, things that we have a very, very, very hard time with in veterinary medicine. Those nasty, nasty, icky respiratory things. Diffusion is incredible. Just the aspergillosis, and oh my gosh, it's amazing. You'd have to hear stories. It's just incredible. And unlike treating somebody with medicine, when you're diffusing for one bird, everybody in the house benefits from it. I know it's not like giving somebody penicillin. You can't give everybody penicillin. It's not good for them. But if you give one bird a treatment of essential oils and everybody gets a treatment of essential oils, that's great. It's great for them. So, and I put in here, your home smells like a spa. I can't tell you the number of times I've had people walk into my house and, oh, wow, it smells so good in here. It smells like a spa. And I'm going, I have 18 parrots in a one bedroom apartment. You're crazy. But yeah, it's pretty amazing how well it can cover up a lot of smells and stuff. And you can see from these pictures, they are absolutely drawn to it. Here, right there. Look. They'll sit by their cage and they'll get as close as they can to it. He actually takes the cover off of it. Naughty little booger. That's what he has in his mouth here. It's supposed to be on top. But then, of course, this is Ariel. Ariel loves her diffuser. I don't know if you can see. There's a mist here. She's actually trying to eat the mist. So here's a diffuser. It's diffusing up and over like this. You can kind of see some of the mist down in here. And here's Miss Ariel again. She's taking that top off just like our other little guy did. And when you take the top off, some water actually splashes out of the top. So, and it actually is not real good for your diffuser. I don't recommend doing it this way. But this has several drops of essential oil in it and a bunch of water. So there she is actually drinking it. Look at those eyes pin. So another way we can use essential oils with parrots is topically. You can rub it on the tops or the bottom of their feet. Like over here with Nola, she's actually a very good girl, and she holds her foot up for you to rub the oils on their feet. But if your bird will step up for you and you can put your thumb on top of their foot, you can rub it on the top of their foot too. You can eat if they'll step up for you, but don't let you touch your feet. You can rub it on wherever they're going to step up on, whether it's your hand or your arm. If you know they have a favorite perch or a bowl, if they don't step up. For instance, I know if I give Babe a treat in this bowl, he is always going to stand on the edge of the rim here. So that's always another way to do it too. You can also part feathers and get it down onto the skin if you need to. And then you can also use a shower with a fine mist glass spray bottle like this blue one here. One of the place I get it is called Abundant Health. And you can find them online at Abundant Health, the number 4 and the letter U.com, or you can just Google Abundant Health. And they have a whole bunch of different sizes, and they're pretty reasonably priced. So if you look here, this was a couple years ago. This is Nola, my green wing, the same one up here. I was helping her with a couple of her pin feathers, and I found this puncture here. I'm not real sure. I had no idea what it was, but it was open to the air sac. So I was actually working for my avian vet at the time, so I called her up and brought her in right away, and she looked at it and said, well, she is the one I learned a lot of my working with essential oils from. She said we would have to actually put her under and cut this whole area open around it to stitch it closed. If we wanted to try and do that, she said, or you can try and use a couple different types of essential oils, and we can see how it goes. Because of course I was working every day, I could just bring her into work, and we could monitor it really closely. Okay, yeah, sure. Well, we'll try that. Well, 18 hours later, literally, no stitches. We couldn't stitch it because we would have had to have debride those corners in order to be able to stitch it. 18 hours later, after just a couple of different essential oils and a little bit of Young Living's animal ointment, and it closed itself shut like that. It was pretty amazing. We can also use Young Living oils orally. We use it in the water, in their food, and in some real extreme cases, we can do actual oral supplementation through a syringe. So this is actually Bella, little lovebird here. One day I was taking a shower, and I got out of the shower, and Bella wasn't in her cage. And she had figured out how to lift the food door, and she lifted it and got out, and she decided to fly over and visit my African gray in her cage. And I found her underneath my African gray cage with badly fractured wing. Actually fractured both bones. A fracture here and a fracture here. So this was her as we were waiting for x-rays. And this was her, obviously we gave her some pain meds, of course. And so this was her on the pain meds. Now, I tried what we call the morphine balm. It's a mixture of several different essential oils. And it's called the morphine balm for humans. And so we diluted it way down, and I gave that to her orally. And of course, I also had some narcotic pain meds I could give her via injection if she was in any kind of pain. But we had to wait a few days before we could do any surgery. So she had her injection there at the vet that first day, and then I took her home and I gave her just the essential oils. And look at how bright-eyed she was. She actually was feeling so good on just the essential oils for pain that she was trying to fly. Which is, I mean, it's wonderful that she really was feeling that good, but it's not a good thing when you have a broken wing. That's too good of pain control. But notice the difference between here and here. Here she's stoned, she's drowsy, and here she's bright-eyed. And this was a couple days later on the way to the vet before surgery, still bright-eyed. And then of course this is actually the external fixators after we had pinned the wing. And of course before surgery they always get the pain meds, the narcotic pain medication before surgery. So this is her shortly after coming out of anesthesia, and again you can see she's kind of stoned out of her gourd. And here again. So these are the only two times, from here and here. Those are the only two times she actually had narcotic pain medication. Otherwise, she healed with nothing but essential oils. And she was bright-eyed and happy and in no pain. It was really amazing. It was very, very amazing to see that. So I'm going to quick go through some common essential oils for parrots. Lavender. Lavender is awesome. It is antiseptic, antifungal, and analgesic. It is antitumoral, anticonvulsant, vasodilating, means that it opens up your blood vessels. It is a relaxant, anti-inflammatory, and reduces the blood fat and cholesterol. Its uses are for respiratory infections, high blood pressure, arterial sclerosis, skin conditions, burns, and nervous tension. I'm going to buzz through these real. Lemon. Lemon is antitumoral, antiseptic, improves microcirculation. It's an immune stimulant, so it increases white blood cells. It's relaxant. It improves memory. It's used for circulatory problems, arterial sclerosis, which is just hardening of the arteries, obesity, parasites, urinary tract infections, and digestive problems. And research by Dr. Jean Valnet showed that diffused lemon oil can kill Meningococcus bacteria in 15 minutes, typhoid in 1 hour, staph in 2 hours, and pneumonia bacteria in 3 hours. A 0.2% solution of lemon oil can kill diphtheria bacteria in 20 minutes and can completely inactivate tuberculosis. This is just lemons. The stuff that comes out of the lemon peel. It's amazing. Over in Europe, in many hospitals in Europe, they are using a solution of lemon oil to disinfect surfaces in hospitals now. That's all they're using. Pretty incredible stuff. Peppermint. Peppermint is anti-inflammatory, antitumoral, antiparasitic, antibacterial, antifungal, antiviral. It's a digestive stimulant, and it is pain relieving. It's great for arthritis, respiratory infections, viral infections, fungal infections, and candida, digestive problems, nausea, skin problems, and scoliosis. We like to use this one a lot, especially for things like crop stasis, for those baby birds that, their crop doesn't empty real fast. So this helps with the peristalsis, which is the movement of the digestive organs, that the wave-like motions to get everything going and moving again. Frankincense. Frankincense is awesome. It is antitumoral, immunostimulant. It is antidepressant and muscle relaxing. It is for depression, cancer, respiratory infections, and inflammation. This is your #1 oil for cancer. Always. You hear cancer, you think frankincense. Okay? Any kind of tumor. Benign, malignant, anything. It also magnifies other oils. And I heard a long time ago that all babies need frankincense. So if it was good enough for the baby Jesus, it's good enough for all babies. Melaleuca, which is your tea tree oil. And yes, Young Living tea tree oil is safe. Why have we heard that you can't use tea tree oil around birds? Don't use tea tree oil. It's not safe because it is the second most adulterated essential oil sold on the market today. Second only to lavender. Lavender is number one. Why? Because there was 1,000% more lavender oil sold as natural than there were plants in the entire world. Melaleuca or tea tree is your number two most adulterated oil, sold as pure and natural. Okay? Young Livings is pure and natural. I use it around my birds almost every day. It's in one of the blends that I literally diffuse almost every single day and have for 5 years. I promise you, it is safe. It is a powerful antibacterial. It is antifungal, antiviral, antiparasitic, antimicrobial, anti-inflammatory, antiseptic. It is good for fungal infections, bacterial infections, E. coli, and water retention. Why would you not want this oil? Who wants this in their house? It does everything. It's amazing. Thieves. Thieves is a blend. It is a blend of clove, lemon, cinnamon bark, eucalyptus, and rosemary. And it's called Thieves because back during the Black Plague, there was a group of thieves that would rob they were grave robbers. They would rob the dead and the dying. And their day job, I guess if you want to call it that, was most of them were herbalists. And I think herbalists, things like that, aromatherapists. And when they were finally caught, they were brought before the king. And in exchange for their lives, the king said they had to share why they could be around the dead and the dying in this horrible plague that was killing everybody, and yet they wouldn't get sick. And this was what they were carrying. They were carrying clove, lemon, cinnamon bark, eucalyptus, and rosemary. So that's how this blend got the name Thieves. Clove is one of the most antimicrobial, antiseptic, antifungal, antiviral, and anti-infectious of all essential oils. It is the most powerful antioxidant on the planet. Lemon has many antiseptic-like properties. We already talked a lot about lemon. It amplifies immunity and promotes circulation. Cinnamon bark is one of the most powerful antiseptics known for all infectious microbes. It is strongly antibacterial, antiviral, and antifungal. Eucalyptus radiata is anti-infectious, antibacterial, antiviral, and anti-inflammatory. Rosemary is an outstanding antimicrobial and antiseptic. It's stimulating to the mind to help overcome fatigue. It's understanding now how these guys got away with not getting sick. Purification. This is the one that I say I diffuse just about every single day in my house that has melaleuca in it. Purification is a blend of citronella, lemongrass, lavandin, rosemary, melaleuca, and myrtle. Citronella is antiseptic, antibacterial, antispasmodic, anti-inflammatory, insecticidal, and insect repelling. We all knew citronella repelled insects. Did you know it did all the rest of that too? Lemongrass has strong antifungal properties. It is also antibacterial and very purifying. Lavandin is actually a hybrid of the lavender plant, and it has different properties from regular lavender. It is antifungal, antibacterial, and has strong antiseptic and tissue regenerating properties. Rosemary is antiseptic, antifungal, antimicrobial, anti-infectious, and helps fight candida and is beneficial for skin conditions. Melaleuca alternifolia is antibacterial, antifungal, antiparasitic, antiseptic, and anti-inflammatory. And myrtle is antibacterial and helps support immune function. This is one that not only really helps eliminate odors in your house, it'll kill just about anything in the air. This is a great one for bug bites, spider bites. It actually pulls the poison out of your skin. So if you get a spider bite, or here in Minnesota, where our state bird is the mosquito, if you can get it on early enough. Now, if you're like me and you don't carry your bottle purification with you everywhere, and you come inside 5 hours later and try and put it on your bug bites, it'll help, but it will not help as much as it would if you put it on right away. So, or you put it on a bee sting. I have literally seen a huge welt on a bee sting with a big red band on it, wet, red and swelling. And I've literally seen the redness go almost like it just sucks it right out. It's really amazing. A fantastic oil to have on hand at all times. Dragon thyme. Dragon thyme we use for our hormonal birds. Okay, these were named for humans. So dragon thyme, this is for PMS. This is clary sage, lavender, jasmine, fennel, marjoram, and yarrow. Clary sage supports the body's production of sclerol, important for balancing hormones. It contains natural sclerol. People say those sound the same. A phytoestrogen that mimics estrogen function. Lavender is a relaxant that relieves anxiety, headaches, and PMS symptoms. Jasmine is good for muscle spasms, frigidity, depression, and nervous exhaustion. Fennel is antiseptic, antispasmodic, estrogen-like, and hormone-like activities. Marjoram relieves muscle spasms, calms nerves, relieves menopausal symptoms and painful periods. And yarrow balances hormones and reduces inflammation. This is really good for springtime, for your hormonal cockatoos. If it is not going to eliminate hormones, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, if it is, because hormonal activity is normal. Okay, it is not going to get rid of a normal behavior or a normal activity. Now, if it is over and above excessive, it can help with that. So, okay, it is going to help balance. It provides balance. All oils provide balance. Hormones are normal. Hormones are natural. They may be annoying. They may be a pain in the butt. They may be hard to deal with. Okay? But it's not going to get rid of them. So, do be aware of that. RC. This one is amazing. This is one of a regimen of several that we would use for aspergillosis. Also one you use for a lot of your upper respiratory issues. RC stands for respiratory conditions or respiratory congestion. This has a lot of eucalyptus in it. This is Eucalyptus globulus, Eucalyptus radiata, and Eucalyptus citrodora. Also myrtle, pine, spruce, marjoram, lavender, cypress, and peppermint. So, Eucalyptus globulus is a powerful antimicrobial and germ killer. It is expectorant, mucolytic, antibacterial, antifungal, antiviral, antiseptic, reduces infections in the throat and lungs, such as laryngitis, influenza, sinusitis, pneumonia, and bronchitis. Eucalyptus radiata is anti-infectious, antibacterial, antiviral, expectorant, anti-inflammatory, strong action against bronchitis and sinusitis. Eucalyptus citrodora is anti-inflammatory, anti-infectious, antispasmodic, decongest, and disinfects the sinuses and the lungs. Myrtle supports respiratory systems and helps support coughs and tuberculosis. Pine opens and disinfects the respiratory systems, particularly the bronchial tract. So we're hitting the bronchial tract, the sinuses, the lungs, the throat. It's hitting everything. Spruce is anti-infectious, antiseptic, anti-inflammatory, supports the respiratory and nervous systems. Marjoram is anti-infectious, antibacterial, antiseptic, and supports the respiratory system and reduces spasms. Lavender is antispasmodic, hypotensive. It lowers blood pressure. Anti-inflammatory and antiseptic. Cypress is anti-infectious, antibacterial, antimicrobial, mucolytic, and antiseptic. Peppermint is a powerful nasal and lung decongestant with an antiseptic properties, opens nasal passages, reduces cough, and improves airflow to the lungs. It also kills airborne bacteria, fungi, and viruses. It's awesome. Awesome, 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 awesome. So who loves their oils? This was just a real basic overview. I promise I have more videos getting ready to come out. I'm working on them day and night, so I'm going to be kicking some more out here very quickly. That's going to go into a lot more detail. So in the meantime, if you have any questions, I have some information coming up here. So thanks so much for joining me today. And if you have any questions or concerns or thoughts, anything you want to go over, my contact information is going to be on the next slide. So don't hesitate to get in touch with me if any of that comes up. Otherwise, have a great day, and I will see you when the next video comes out. Thanks again.